Good morning. Good morning. Hello, Instagram. Hello, Facebook. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I hope everybody is off to a wonderful Tuesday morning. Hopefully by now everybody might be finding a new normal of a schedule. I know I'm still trying to figure it out, but you know, whatever. Just take it day by day, I guess. So, so today we are doing a banana bread, and it's a 1 bowl banana bread, which is awesome. Actually, I kind of exaggerated this. It's not actually 1 bowl because you kind of have to prep a few other things, but it's a 1 bowl where you just dump everything in and you don't need a hand mixer at all, which is great because sometimes you just want something easy and you don't have to pull all your stuff out. You don't have to wash everything. So good morning, everybody on Instagram. Hello, everybody on Facebook. If you're just joining me, I'm just giving everybody a few minutes to kind of get sorted and get situated. I have my lovely over-ripened bananas. You can see that all these little brown spots make for awesome, hi Michelle, make for awesome banana bread because the bananas have become so ripe that they're super sweet and they will extract a lot more of their flavor. If you have bananas that don't have a lot of spots on them, I would wait another couple of days until you start seeing some good brown spots. They're also super soft, which is another indicator that they're ready to go. And also, they could be like almost completely brown by then, and that would still make amazing banana bread. So I'm just gonna start doing my prep while everybody else kind of gets a little situated. So really, I'm just gonna mash these in the bowl. You can do it you can do it a couple of ways, really. You can use a fork to mash. You can do, I've got my little potato masher. I love this thing. I use this thing all the time. And, or you can use your hands. I mean, if you want to, if you want to go in, dig in, by all means. Why not? I love to play with my food. So, so yeah, so you can see that these are fairly soft. Actually, they could probably stand to even ripen another couple of days, to be perfectly honest, because you almost want them where they're almost completely starting to fall apart in the peel as you pull them out. Like that yields the best banana bread. It's just something about the way that the enzymes breaking down in the banana can kind of give you more of that banana-y flavor. So good morning, you guys. I see everybody popping on. I hope everybody's having a great time, a great day. I hope you're excited about banana bread. Hi, Jade. This is one of my, I used to do this recipe when I worked on sailing yachts in the Caribbean for a couple of reasons. One, because I usually made my stuff in the morning before like charter guests would wake up, because I just didn't want to do it the day before because I'm a procrastinator, whatever. And I would do it in the morning, and it would be awesome because I don't have to use a mixer, so it wouldn't wake anybody up. And it's a single bowl, minus the 2 that you just got to do a little prep with, but it's just 1 bowl, throw it all in, have fun with it, and you don't have to think about it. So it's so easy, and it is a really good banana bread. It's really yummy. So I have always stuck with it. I mean, everybody has their favorites, you know, and this one works really well. And you can add to it. You can add different things to it as well, which is awesome. So, so I'm just mashing up the bananas. You just want to kind of get those all mashed and yummy. You can use, like I said before, you can use a fork. You can use a potato masher. You can use your hands, like this guy. So these are awesome bananas to mash up. Didn't take very long. Okay, perfect. Oh, and again, I should always remember to start it this way, but I forget. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. If you are on a convection oven, 325. I also have my loaf pan. If you can use miniature ones too. If you have those, you'll just obviously use a few more. And some cooking spray. So just give it a night. You can also take traditional butter if you want, but I'm just gonna spray everything in, and all that's ready to go. This banana bread takes a long time to bake. It takes like about 50 minutes to an hour, and it's gonna be real brown when it comes out. Like, that's the good thing. You want that. So, don't get nervous if it's like 45 minutes in and where is it? Why is it not done? Did I do something wrong? No, it takes a while. So I guess it's just such a dense bread that it just takes a while. So, okay, so I've mashed my bananas. Okay, looks like baby food. That's what you want. And I have some melted butter right here, 1/3 of a cup of melted butter. And I'm just gonna pour it in and give that a nice little mix. Got a wooden spoon. This is the best probably thing to use. You can also use a spatula, but if your spatula is kind of flimsy, it might be harder once it starts to thicken. So a wooden spoon is best. Just give that a good mix. Just want to bring all that together. And then we're going to just start adding, we're going to add, this calls for brown sugar. Not white sugar, brown sugar, which will help deepen that flavor. So the recipe is fairly flexible. I got it from Smitten Kitchen, and it's fairly flexible with some of the things that you want to add to it based on your personal taste preferences. So it suggests anywhere from 3/4 of a cup to a cup, depending on how sweet you like things. And also how sweet your bananas are. If your bananas are mega ripe, you may not need as much sugar. If your bananas were not quite as brown as mine were, then you might need to add a little bit more brown sugar. So I am going to go with I'm going to do the 3/4 cup, just because I like a little bit, I don't know, we're just going to do that today. I don't like it overly sweet. Not that this recipe is that sweet, but I think that this is going to be a nice, I'm just using a 1/4 cup here, by the way. It's just going to kind of complement it with the sweetness of the bananas. So I'll add that, and then I need to add, I have 1 egg that I have in a bowl that I just kind of beat up a little. Not beat up, not bullying here, but, just mixing. And then I'm going to add that. And I've got my vanilla. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And then I'm going to put that in. And then I'm going to add, now the next ingredient that is completely flexible is if you happen to have some bourbon laying around your house, because probably these days you probably do, you can add that. It's not enough to add too much alcohol to it. It just, again, it brings out the flavor of the bananas and the brown sugar and all kinds of stuff. So it's a great complement to it. If you don't have bourbon, I don't have any bourbon right now. I just made up a little bit of coffee, and the coffee will also accentuate the bananas and the brown sugar. So I'm pouring about a tablespoon of coffee, and then if you don't care to do that or don't have either one, you don't have to add it. It's just one of those optional ingredients. So I'm just going to mix this stuff up, just kind of give it a stir, and then I'm going to add my spices. So I've got nutmeg, and I know that a lot of people aren't huge nutmeg fans, so you can add like a 1/4 teaspoon. You could add a 1/2 teaspoon, or again, you don't have to add any teaspoons to it if you don't like. But I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon. And then I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon, because banana bread is just not banana bread without cinnamon, I think. And then you can add just a pinch of cloves. And I actually thought I had cloves, and I don't. So this bread that I'm making is clove-free. But you would just add a little pinch. You don't need to add a lot. A little clove goes a long way. I'm almost out of cinnamon, so this is going to be, yeah, there we go. A little extra in there for flavor, why not? Okay, so now that I've got all those in, I'm just going to, again, mix it up just a little bit. Just get those spices in there. And then I'm going to sprinkle in a teaspoon of baking soda and just a pinch of salt. That's why I like this recipe. It's a little structured, but it's not entirely structured, so it gives you a little bit of flexibility. And again, it's just so easy. So a pinch of salt, okay? And literally, it's just pinch some salt and sprinkle it in. And my baking soda, a teaspoon. Let's see. Cut off my spoon here. Sprinkle that in. Okay. And then the last thing we're gonna do, you wanna give this a little stir. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to add our 1.5 cup of flour. See what I mean? This is so easy. I love this recipe. It's so great. So normally, I do it this way. Just do my okay. All right. So now I've got my 1.5 cups of flour. This is what it's starting to look like. Well, see, when I tip the bowl, you can't really see it. I'll stir it. Excuse me. And then I'll show you. You could also add nuts to this. Morning, Debbie. I'm making banana bread. An easy 1 bowl, no mixer banana bread. So yeah, so then, I mean, you could add nuts to this. You could add like, I'd say probably about a cup of pecans or walnuts if you wanted. I love banana and nut bread personally, but you know, I like nuts in a lot of my baked goods. So if you don't like it, that's okay too. So I have pretty much mixed everything in. And with the nutmeg and the cinnamon and the brown sugar, it's a nice brown batter. You can kind of see. And it's going to get even more brown when you bake it just because of the sugars and the banana and the brown sugar and all that. So pour it into my, switch here to my little spatula just so I can get everything out of the bowl. But this is such an easy, I mean, you can, like, this is why I did it. I would do it in the morning, in the mornings on charters. I could whip it up. I mean, obviously it would take a while to bake. I wouldn't necessarily be able to serve it right then, but it's something to do, and gets those gnarly bananas that are sitting there that you kind of feel guilty about, like, throwing out. And you can make this in, I mean, like less than 15 minutes, you know? I mean, it's awesome. So, and it's something to do with the kids too, you know? I mean, there's no machinery that you have to worry about. There's no knives. You can kind of just, you know, mix it up with them. They can stir it up and have a little bit of fun, a little quality time. So this is my banana bread, okay? So it's gonna get pretty big. And like I said, it's gonna take at least 40, I say depending on everybody's oven, because everybody's oven is totally different, anywhere between 40 and 60 minutes. All my yacht friends with your ovens, it might even take a little bit longer, because I remember it would take forever on my boat oven. But I would say check in with it at about 40 minutes, again, 350 degrees. Check in with it at about 40 minutes, maybe give it a rotation, and then check in again every 8 minutes or so until it starts to be getting more and more firm. And then obviously you can do your toothpick test in the middle if it comes out clean. If there's still a little bit of batter in there, you can let it go for another, minute or two at a time and then check it. But yeah, let it sit. Don't even think about it for a minimum of 40 minutes. And it probably will take at least 50 for things to start firming up. So that is your banana bread. Oh, and the other thing is you want to let it cool. I know it's a little cruel. You want to let this cool a little bit before you cut into it, because actually that's where the flavor really comes. If you cut into it when it's super, super hot or warm, the flavors haven't developed yet. So cut into it like it can still be warm, but let it cool for at least an hour before you dive into it. And And the longer you let it cool down, the more flavor it will be. So that's the secret to banana bread. You've got to have super ripe to overripe bananas. You got to let it bake its time. Adding the flavors like brown sugar or bourbon or coffee also help develop those flavors. And also you got to let it cool. So that's my banana bread recipe, and I hope you guys will enjoy it. Just a few things about the rest of this week. Just I wanted to kind of mention that any recipe that I do that has flour, somebody had made this comment earlier, that if you are using gluten-free flour, you can use gluten-free flour for just about anything that I'm doing, as long as it is a 1-to-1 ratio to standard flour. So that means that they've already added the tapioca starch and the xanthan gum and all the things that the gluten-free flour needs to do its thing, to do things like normal flour. So don't just go and buy it. You need to make sure that your package says like 1-to-1 ratio to regular flour. And I usually use like Bob's Red Mill or King Arthur. Those are the two that I like to use. But they have, that is perfectly acceptable. So I had not mentioned that before, but just to let you know. And then also tomorrow we're doing scone day, and we're doing a bacon cheddar chive scone. And so if you either can't find or don't want to use bacon or chive, that's perfectly fine. You can omit the bacon and have perfectly awesome cheddar chive or cheddar scallion biscuits. If you can't find chives or scallions, you can just have awesome cheddar biscuits. So they're scones, biscuits, they're kind of the same. I mean, this one is probably technically more of a biscuit because we're using buttermilk and all that kind of stuff, but it looks more like a scone. So that's why I call them scones. And then also for Thursday, we are going to be making pizza dough. So for the demo, I'm going to actually have some dough already proofed because it takes a while. But I'm going to teach you and show you all the things that you're going to have to do with it. But you need to have some yeast. So I have like a jar of yeast that I got from the grocery store because it's I make a lot of bread. So for me, it's great to just spoon it out. But they sell this is called Red Star. This is the name of the brand of yeast. They sell it in packets of 3. So just if you don't have it yet and you want to go and get some, just get a packet of 3. You'll end up using like 1.5 of those packets for Thursday's recipe for pizza dough. And obviously get all of your toppings and all the things that you want. You don't have to have it for the demo, but just for the day when you get done with your pizza dough. So, and then on Friday we're going to finish with a clean out your pantry granola. So basically what you have in the pantry we're going to do and kind of clean things out, because I'm sure that there's a couple of things that have been sitting around you don't know what to do with. So anyway, guys, I'm going to throw this in the oven, and I will post a photo of it later so that you can see what it looks like. And I would love to see your photos too if you guys are doing these things. I'd love to see it because I'd like to see that, you know, people are actually, doing these recipes if you're following along, and also just to see how they turn out. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. I love to help people out. And also, if you know of anybody who would love to kind of sit in and watch these things, please share all the recipes, and I post the videos online. Feel free to share. I also created a YouTube page, so I'm putting all these videos on YouTube. So just kind of doing what I can to stay a little entertained and busy for the foreseeable future, it would seem. So anyway, have a wonderful day. Enjoy your banana bread. Let me know how it goes, and I will see you tomorrow.